Hey everyone, and welcome to my I Am Groot reading vlog. I'm having a bit of a wet hair don't care kind of day because today is the day I Am Groot comes out. It's a series of 5 shorts essentially all about baby Groot, so I'm going to watch that, and then I'm going to be vlogging my reaction as I read several different Groot comics. Some of them are going to be solo comics, some of them are going to be team ups with Rocket. So yeah, I will report back after I've watched the TV show and then once I've read some of these comics. Specifically, I'm going to be reading Groot, I Am Groot, and then also the Scotty Young, Rocket and Groot comics as well. I may read some others if I've got time, but I'm mainly going to be focusing on those 3 for now. So I'm going to go watch the show, update you after I've watched the show, and then get on with some of these comics, and I am so excited. I cannot wait. I just finished Groot and that was the cutest thing I've ever seen. That was so cute. Like that was so adorable in so many ways. I mean, baby Groot is cute enough anyway when he's with the rest of the Guardians, but then when he's having adventures by himself in space, that was so cute. That was absolutely adorable. I'm not over it. Watching him dance was the greatest thing ever. Just that whole dance scene was absolutely adorable. Like the whole thing was adorable, but that was really cute. And then like him making that picture for Rocket and everybody else, I'm hoping that's going to be on the fridge. I really hope that's on the fridge in Guardians 3 because that's just so cute. And seeing Rocket again was wonderful. I love Rocket anyway, but that whole thing was so cute. And then Groot experimenting with hairstyles and everything. I was laughing the whole way through this show. It was so sweet, so cute. Marvel better release like plushies of Groot in those pajamas. I really want a Groot, like a plushie Groot in those pajamas, because that was adorable. And I'm also going to need all of the pops as well if they make them, and they better make them because I want them. I want a Groot. It was so cute. That was so cute. That was literally like 15 minutes of pure adorable. If you need like a pick-me-up or something, go watch I Am Groot. That's all I've got. Just go watch it. It's 15 minutes of pure joy. That was so cute. That I couldn't even choose a favourite moment apart from maybe when he comes out in the leaf dress, because that was possibly the greatest thing ever. Or the dancing. I'm always here for dancing. I love watching dancing and things like this. I love to dance. I just can't dance, but I love dancing, so seeing him dance and doing a dance off was the cutest thing. His first steps was cute. All of it was cute. I have nothing else to say apart from that was the cutest thing I've ever seen. And now I need to read some of these comics so I can see if there was any sort of Easter egg in there, or just continue on with the Groot cuteness. So I'm going to read one. I'm probably going to start with the baby Groot one and update you after I've read it, but that was the cutest thing I've ever seen. That was genuinely the cutest thing I've ever seen. Like, you know how cute Baymax is in the Baymax shorts? This was cuter. Literally, this was cuter. I didn't think that was possible because Groot was really cute. Like, no, Baymax was really cute, I mean. And it was really fun. But that was cute and hilarious, which is like the perfect combination. I need to shut up saying that because I'm just repeating myself, and now I need to read some comics because otherwise this is not going to be an interesting reading vlog because there will be no reading getting done. So I'm going to get the reading done and I will update you after I've read at least one of these comics. So I've now just read the Jeff Loveness Groot comic. It is a solo comic all about Groot and Rocket trying to get to Earth because Groot wants to go to Earth for a holiday and Rocket's like, I hate Earth, why are we going to Earth? And they end up meeting Skrulls, getting captured, or Rocket gets kidnapped I should say, by a bounty hunter to try and lure Groot in because Groot's got a higher like price on his head than Rocket does. There's like a flashback to how the two of them met, all the rest of it. There's a beautiful story throughout it as well, a little bit as well on Groot's origin and the like species he comes from, all the rest of it, and it was so funny. I loved this comic. I specifically loved this bit. This was absolutely hilarious, and this is kind of the thing that we had the whole way through this comic. I also loved the fun. There was a robot in here from 1996 and still using floppy disks, which was very funny to me. I found that absolutely hilarious to watch, especially when he first plugged one in and then went updating in the middle of a fight. Found that really funny. The whole thing was really funny, really sweet as well. I really love seeing Groot's more traditional sort of human side, I guess you could say. I loved also just seeing more about Rocket and Groot's connection to each other, because they are very close and everything else, and how sort of like Groot thinks as well, and how people understand him, all the rest of it. I really loved all of that. I loved the flashbacks as well, and I loved it, just the fact that this was a complete madcap adventure. It was just brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. It was funny, it was informative. I do think that would be a really good one as well if you have not read any like Guardians of the Galaxy before, or any comic. I think it's a really good one to start with, especially if you are a fan of Groot, because while people like the Silver Surfer, the Skrulls and things like this turn up, it sort of explains itself as to who these people are in the story itself, so it doesn't really rely on you knowing a whole load of things. And just generally it was really funny, really cute, and I really loved it, and I'm going to give it 5 stars. It was fantastic. I'm now going to go on to the next Groot comic I've got. This is featuring Baby Groot, and I am again really excited to read this because I think it's going to be just as cute as the first one. I do not know what this one's about though. I'm going into all of these without reading the synopsis, to be honest. I'm just trying to go into them without much knowledge, but I'm going to be going on to that one after lunch because it's now lunchtime and I cannot wait. I've now finished I Am Groot, and that one was reasonably interesting. I will say it's not my favourite of the lot. This one is following Baby Groot as he gets sucked into a wormhole essentially and lands on this planet called Terminal, and he ends up meeting a few people there. They've got like space storms and things like this that messes with time and space and things like this, and he has to try and basically escape while the Guardians are essentially freaking out because they've lost Groot. And it was a reasonably fun time. It was not as fun as Groot itself. I felt like that one was a lot more light-hearted and just generally fun. I would say it's still pretty good for like a new person who is new to comics, specifically new to Groot comics, because you are literally just following Groot in this one, and like characters we've never met before, so in that sense it's pretty good, but I wouldn't say it is my favourite, so I'm going to give it 3.5 to 4 stars. And now we're going on to Rocket and Groot by Skottie Young. This is obviously Skottie Young's series, all about Rocket and Groot, and I'm very excited for this because I love Skottie Young's work. He has drawn this as well as written this, if I remember rightly. Pretty sure it is. Either way, he's directly involved in this, so I'm very excited to read it. I've wanted to read this one for a while, and so now I'm going to get on with Rocket and Groot and Skottie Young. So I will probably read the first 6 issues, which constitutes the first volume, and update you then, but I may just read the whole thing, I don't know. I'll see how much I'm enjoying it and what I need to update you on as I read it. First volume down, and this is actually more like a series of one-shots with Rocket and Groot doing things. The first one is actually about 2 issues long, I think, or 3, and it's following Rocket and Groot post Secret Wars. I will say that it would probably help to have a basic idea of what Secret Wars was about, but essentially all you really need to know is that Rocket and Groot are presumed dead, but they're actually in an alternate universe, and I really like this one. I really liked as well Pockets and Shrub, who were like this universe's versions of Rocket and Groot. I found that very funny, and seeing like how Groot basically sort of mementoed himself in his own way, like the movie Memento, so he could find Rocket. I found all of that really fun, so that was a really good time. I then went on to the next one shot, which is actually Rocket and Groot having an argument with Tony over their world's version of D&D. So they have a big D&D group. It's Rocket, Groot, Tony, Illyana, Miles Morales, Deadpool, Sam Wilson, Captain America, and several others, and they're all doing this D&D game, and Tony keeps on making up the rules, so Rocket challenges him to winning another game, and Tony goes for fantasy football, and Rocket's like, oh yeah, that's just maths, I can totally do that. And it turns out fantasy football in the Marvel universe, when Tony is doing it, is actually on another planet, and it's actual like no rules American football essentially. So that was really good fun as well, and seeing like those two fight each other and seeing them being like proper nerds as well, because I should also mention Kamala Khan's actually in this one as well. She's briefly part of the D&D game, and I'm just like, of course she is. Let's be honest here, she totally created that game and invited everybody else and they all joined in. I've also gone through Rocket and Groot trying to have a vacation and it failing, and then also onto Rocket and Groot having an argument over who is better at games. And I loved several panels in this one. I first got to mention this one, and specifically the book Groot is reading. That was just absolutely brilliant to see. And then I've also got to mention this panel here where Rocket is turning around and going, oh please, if anybody is Vin Diesel, it's me, knowing full well that in our world Vin Diesel voices Groot, which is just great because that is such a meta joke, and I love meta jokes like that. Within these comics I find them always really good fun and a really good time, so that I found hilarious. But I've now finished that Scotty Young one. We're now into somebody else. It's Nick Kocher instead who is writing these ones. I'm slightly sad it's not Scotty Young. I should also mention that the previous volumes were not actually drawn by Scotty Young, it was just the variant art, so I should mention that as well. But the artwork was still brilliant, as you can see, so I'm going to see how Nick does in terms of Rocket and Groot and report back after that. And then after that I have completely run out of Rocket and Groot team-ups, which makes me sad because that went a bit too quickly. And I've now just finished that final volume as well, which was volume 2 of Rocket and Groot, and I will say that this one was not as fun as the first one, mainly because it tied into Civil War, which is obviously a massive thing. Actually, specifically it's Civil War 2, I should say, which is where Tony and Carol are fighting each other, and while I enjoy that event, this one just felt sort of like it was sort of hastily tied into that, because obviously all the other heroes were fighting in Civil War 2, so Rocket and Groot had to be pulled into it as well. So while it was reasonably interesting, the thing that slightly ruined it for me was Gwenpool, which sounds weird, I know, because Gwenpool is one of my favourite characters of all time in the Marvel Universe, but I don't think she was done justice in this one, because Gwenpool is usually a lot funnier than this. And obviously she knows everything about the Marvel Universe. She would without doubt know who Rocket and Groot are. And she spent the entire time not knowing who Rocket and Groot were and calling them Squirrel and Tree. And she had to be explained to who they were. And I was like, that's not Gwenpool. Gwenpool would know, and she would have fangirled horrendously. She would have been fangirling the entire time. So in that sense, it slightly ruined it for me because Gwenpool wasn't done right in my mind. I do think this could have been done better in terms of the writing style, though I will say that Gwenpool does mock the writer throughout this, especially after a fight where her suit is ripped, and it's ripped in very strategic places, shall we say, where basically it's just the important bits are covered up, and she basically looks like she's just wearing the bikini version of her outfits, and she is mocking that, which is quite fun. But I do think that this could have been done better if it was written probably actually by Scotty Young, if the series had been continued on by Scotty Young. But in saying that, it was still a reasonable read. I did enjoy the artwork of it, and I'm going to give it 3.5 to 4 stars as well. And that is actually going to be the end of this reading vlog. It's going to be nice and short and sweet because there wasn't actually that many Groot solo stuff that I could read, and also it's getting pretty hot at the moment, so I need to just sort of chill now and cool down somehow, probably with a ton of ice lollies and sticking my head in the fridge. But apart from that, I'm going to say that probably my favourite comics were the first two that I read, the Groot and I Am Groot. They were really good fun, really sweet in their way, and just generally a good time. I also really enjoyed the Scotty Young volume of Rocket and Groot as well, and the other one was pretty good as well. It just was not my favourite because it didn't do Gwenpool justice in my mind, but apart from that, the banter was still there, the storyline was still there. I just think it could have been better, maybe not tying into Civil War 2, or maybe tying in just that little bit more so it didn't feel like a bit of an afterthought offshoot kind of thing. But with that, I'm going to leave this video here because, like I said, I really need that ice lolly and to stick my head in the fridge. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me your favourite moment from the Groot TV show, or if you don't have that much time, leave me a tree related emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, which has got a whole guide to all of the Groot comics I have just read if you're interested in that in a more written out form. I'll also leave a link as well down below to my Etsy and Redbubble store, which does a bookish merch if you're interested in that. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!